Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to cover some more information with regards to energy savings and energy use. The graph that it's up right now on the screen is showing the average CO2 emissions per capita or per person, and in the US that's around 20 tons of carbon per year per person. So it's pretty darn high compared to other places in the world. So the other reason I'm showing this video today is because in classes I've taught, students it's not obvious to me that they clearly understand in today's culture how to actually reduce that carbon footprint. So I'm going to cover a couple simple ideas to reduce carbon and energy usage in the home, especially since our energy bills are skyrocketing right now with the current political situations. So the natural gas in the US, like by consumption, about half is used by commercial and industrial uses. The 16% is used by residential, and 34% is used by electrical power generation. So pretty big chunk. So gas cost and electricity cost are closely tied together because of that. In the US, the energy in our homes is almost all space heating and water heating, and a little bit of natural gas use for clothes drying. So those all are related and all contribute to our carbon footprint. If you look at the natural gas part, which we'll be focusing on today, a lot of it is space heating. 60% is typically heating of the home, or 30% is the water heating. We covered water heating, but we haven't covered the other things. So what can you do? Well, the number one thing you can do is get some string and wait for a sunny day before you wash your clothes. Just not drying clothes is 6% savings right there. Second thing is the ground temperature in the US. If you look at this map, about half of the US, the ground temperature never goes below about 50 degrees, which means that if you let your house center on that temperature, the house will tend to go to that ground temperature. So what you can do, instead of heating the whole house, which is super inefficient and costly, just heat common areas or one room that most people are going to be spending time in, and then use layering and buy a lot of sweaters. Sweaters are cheap. For sleeping, you can use electric blankets. 130 watt electric blanket is a lot less power than heating the whole house. And if you set them on low, which is good enough to keep the room comfortable, it's only 10 to 20 watts based on the measurements that I did. So that's basically 1/100th of the energy usage compared to heating the whole room. So huge savings. The final thing I want to talk about is you don't need to heat the air in the room and the house itself. You just need to heat the surfaces. So in this case, I built a fixture and used a terrarium heater of 150 watts that basically heats surfaces and doesn't heat the air. And that way you can work at a desk and feel comfortable without heating the entire room. So that's about a 90% reduction in the heat required to be able to warm up a desk area. And finally, this is something I did when I was a college student. We used to try to save as much money as we could because we were starving college students. And putting plastic over windows is one way to reduce your heat use by almost 20%, according to the literature. So in conclusion, there's quite a few things we can do to change our behavior and reduce our carbon footprint and save energy and save money at the same time, especially under this environment of escalating power bills. These changes can be very low cost to implement, as the ones I had just shown are tens of dollars at the most to be able to save funds. And you don't really need to be a victim of the current economic conditions. Finally, even if you're conscious of environmental conditions and drive an EV, it doesn't mean that you don't have a carbon footprint, because the natural gas usage in your home can be quite large. So it's something to think about. If you enjoyed this video, again, thanks for watching, and like and subscribe for more.